So I haven't followed Francis' career, but apparently he's doing boxing. Let's find out why.
Francis Ngannou is killing his career right in front of our very eyes. Just a
Damn.
couple months ago, Francis was practically set up to be one of the richest UFC fighters and was on track to be a bona fide superstar.
So why'd he leave?
He was reportedly offered around $8 million, the biggest heavyweight contract in UFC history.
God
He
damn.
was set to face John Jones, which would have
That would have been
definitely
crazy.
more money from pay-per-view bonuses.
100%.
Would definitely do easily over 1 million pay-per-view
Easy.
buys. But now, not only did Francis walk away from that contract, he doesn't even have a place to fight. Not boxing, not the PFL.
Wait, what?
Certainly not the UFC. So
Wait. Claims Francis will never return to the USC. We negotiated for years. Unemployment urged to wake up to call Dana White.
happened? How did the UFC's heavyweight champion and one of the organization's biggest stars end up like this so quickly? Now, the center of our story and how we're going to begin our story is detailing the beef of Francis Ngannou and Dana White.
Oh,
As many of
it's
you know,
personal.
Francis Ngannou and Dana White aren't on the best of terms. And now people remember the first time the beef popping up when Francis fought Stipe the second time, which we'll get into. However, many people forget that their beef started after the first Stipe fight. Let's take it back to 2018. Francis finally gets the shot to fight for the title against the division's GOAT, Stipe Miocic, in his prime. And it goes exactly as you would expect. Stipe dominates Francis from start to finish,
Damn.
completely outclassing him and showing everyone how one-dimensional Francis was at the time.
Damn.
Though more important was the words of Dana.
Bro, that face. Bro, that face, bro. Oh my God, bro. When you steal candy from a baby, this is the face that you go have.
White after the fight. In the post-fight conference,
Oh,
he
man.
had these words to say about Francis Ngannou. Everyone was talking about him. We all thought he was going to be the next guy. I think his ego ran away with him at the time. I can tell you his ego ran away with him. Ego is what hurt Francis Ngannou. And with these words, the Francis
That's kind of, yeah. I mean, is that true or is that not true? Is Francis mad because his ego isn't big, or is he mad because his ego is actually inflated?
Ngannou, Dana White beef would start. It would take over 3 years until Francis Ngannou would get another title shot. Following the loss to Stipe,
Damn.
he would again lose against Derek Lewis in a disappointing snooze fest.
Mm.
Though after this hiccup, he'd go on an absolute rampage. He would TKO Curtis Blades in the first round in 45 seconds. He
Jeez.
would KO Cain Velasquez in the first round in 26 seconds.
Jesus.
He would TKO Junior Dos Santos in the first round in 1 minute and 11 seconds.
God
Finally,
damn.
he would KO Jairzinho Rosenstrike in the first round in 20 seconds. During this little 4-fight win streak,
Hey!
he fought a total of only 2 minutes and 42
Hey,
seconds,
hey!
and averaged about 40.5 seconds per fight.
That's
So
pretty
2021,
fucking good.
Francis would earn the right to fight Stipe again for the title, and this time show massive improvement in both wrestling and striking. And KO's
God damn. What the hell did he hit him with? That looked like when you get hit with one of them anime punches when they go like this. Bow downwards, bro. What the hell is that? What is that? Homie got rocked, son.
in the second
Ain't
round.
no way.
Now this is where the beef would really heat up, as Francis Ngannou would become champion and use this as leverage to aggressively negotiate a re-signing deal with the UFC. Now Francis did not want to sign.
My real question is, when this referee gonna retire? This man been reffing for like 20 plus years, man.
aggressively negotiate a re-signing deal with the UFC. Now Francis did not want to sign the first re-signing deal the UFC offered him, saying
Okay.
that he felt he wasn't getting paid enough, and also citing his dislike of the restrictive champ clause, which is a clause that automatically extends a contract when a champ defends their belt. Now this champ clause was
Yeah, that's fucked. That's fucked. You automatically extend. When you extend, are you getting a bonus?
automatically extends a
That
contract
sounds like
when a
shit.
champ defends their belt. Now this champ clause was a part of Francis Ngannou's, at the time, current contract that he signed in
Change that shit,
2017,
homie.
though he did not obviously want this clause to also be in the new deal they're
Change
trying
it.
to negotiate.
Yeah, change
So
that.
with Francis not wanting a lowball contract in this new deal and potentially having to be stuck in said
Because he refused to sign a low ball
contract
contract. Yeah.
due to the champ clause, he refused to fight. Now this was not known to the public just yet. During this time, out of nowhere, a fight between Cyril Gane and Derek Lewis was announced for, surprisingly, an interim belt. Many were shocked to see the UFC create an interim belt for this fight, considering that Francis had just won the actual belt against Stipe just months prior. And for those who don't know, the interim belt is usually reserved for champs unable to fight due to injury, or in any case where the current champion cannot fight for that belt at that time, but will fight for that belt at a later date. Kind of like what we're seeing with the Volkanovski-Yair Rodriguez case. Though in this case, Francis Ngannou wasn't injured, he didn't move to another division, and the UFC painted it as Francis simply just wanting to take a quote-unquote vacation, which was a really strange thing at the time. Though moving forward, with Cyril Gane winning over Derek Lewis and getting the interim heavyweight title, the fight was set to unite the two heavyweight belts in January of 2022. And a week before the fight, there were reports of Francis and Dana meeting briefly and apparently settling their differences, with Dana claiming it was his manager's fault for the mess and not Francis. Though there are still many rumors about Francis potentially leaving after the Cyril Gane fight, as he was still very unhappy about his pay.
600K is great, but for becoming the champion and knocking out, 4 competitors in under 2 minutes, yeah, you do need a pay raise, man. At least like $1.5 million at least, bro. Like, that's crazy.
Actually being his last fight in the UFC, Francis went out and won the fight with his wrestling in a very surprisingly good performance. Though unfortunately, Francis did not fight the rest of the year due to him blowing out his ACL and MCL.
Damn.
Though I'm not certain, looking back, this injury and sideline for a year seems awfully convenient, as this injury would allow Francis to legitimately wait out the champ clause that automatically re-signed him for a year after he defended the belt against Cyril Gane.
I mean, coincidence? I mean, look, he had to go to the doctor to get these injuries approved and whatnot. He made it. He got the bag. Okay, I'm glad he got healthy from his injury, though.
Now we get to this point a year later where Francis's old contract would expire and Dana would offer him the now infamous $8 million contract that would have been the biggest contract of any heavyweight in UFC.
So why did he turn it down?
Besides the $8 million, he would have been guaranteed a fight with Jon Jones, which would have done historical numbers and brought Francis to new heights, like I said in the beginning of the video.
Especially
Though
if he
in
won.
A very surprising move, Francis would decline this offer, citing a number of requests that were not met.
Okay.
The big one that wasn't met was the advocacy of fighters' rights, such as bringing back sponsorships and fighting for health insurance for all UFC fighters, especially for the bottom fighters that make around $10,000.
Yo, that's a W move right there. He was trying to get everybody up. Everybody. He said, fuck the 8 mil. What about everybody else? Wow, that is humble.
Francis also requested the freedom to fight in a boxing event and have the opportunity to make a big payday like Conor did, potentially fighting a Tyson Fury or possibly Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder.
Wow,
and this final reason
crazy.
why Francis did not want to sign the new contract isn't necessarily a request, but he felt like he wasn't truly an independent contractor, and he again felt trapped like he did in his old contract.
Okay.
Not much detail can be shown.
Well, yeah, you're in your contract. You're screwed. You do whatever the person you signed with says.
Here, but I would assume it would be in reference to the champ clause, as he mentioned in an interview with Ariel Helwani that he only really wanted 3 fights in this new contract, possibly a 3rd fight with Stipe, and then possibly 2 fights with Jon Jones. Additionally, Francis also felt that the UFC just
3 fights for millions of dollars. I don't know, homie. You asking for a lot. I get it. You the champion, but 3 fights. I don't know. Well, then again, UFC fighters don't really fight that much compared to like boxers. So I don't know. Maybe y'all let me know. Is that good or bad? I don't think he really cared about the 8 mil, but like $5 million for 3 fights. I don't know.
To offer him a lot of money to quote-unquote shut him up instead of fulfilling any of the requests previously mentioned. And though I understand Francis's decision to leave if the narrative of the UFC denying all of the requests are true, but the lack of a concrete plan after this decision is where Francis really messed up. Starting with boxing, there were rumors and only rumors that Francis Ngannou was going to fight Tyson Fury.
Okay.
Honestly, don't think there was any merit to anything either guy said about this fight, nor do I think this fight will happen anytime soon. Francis Ngannou has tweeted out some absurd agreements, which I'm pretty sure is a joke, but I don't even think anything close to any serious agreements ever happened. if the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk fight fell through, a fight that essentially was made and should have happened, do you really think a fight between a former UFC fighter that's out of work and a current heavyweight boxer, let alone with insane rules, would actually happen? Especially with the state of boxing and how often deals fall through, I highly doubt there is any serious talks about a Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou super fight. Though allegedly, there has been serious talks with a potential Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou super fight. And again, these are just rumors, but on the side of Francis, he claims that there is a possible 2-fight deal being made currently. But again, I don't think this will happen either.
We need to see the paperwork.
And again, many fights and fight deals falling through. Now, I would also like to point out that this situation is much different than the Conor Mayweather situation. See, the sport of boxing had to deal with the UFC and Dana White, which was a much better situation because the UFC would be able to help co-promote this fight. Now, in this situation with Francis Ngannou, he technically doesn't have a promotion. He would kind of be his own promoter in that regard, and he would have to help sell the fight as well, which is definitely going to be a problem when it comes to negotiating a deal. And they may offer Francis Ngannou something much lower than he anticipated, 100%. Considering they have to take on the risk of promoting a guy that's never been in boxing before and is not even associated with a promotion anymore. And considering Francis hasn't fought in over a year, his stock has definitely plummeted, and I don't think he's going to draw in the pay-per-view buys that he once had. And finally, the second option for Francis Ngannou was to move to another mixed martial arts organization.
He should have did that. Honestly, I mean, like for real, he could have negotiated more. Like instead of $10K for the new fighters, maybe take a pay cut from $8 million to like $3 million, and you give a $5K for the lower. Like you can really negotiate. If you could get somebody to really negotiate, Francis would still be in the UFC right now. But the whole issue with him is he felt caged in with his contract. He wants to do 3 fights for a contract. Like that's pretty whatever. Like, and you're ending fights in less than a minute. Like, where is the substance? Like, I don't know. This just doesn't sound legit. And then him leaving the UFC, it's not a good look.
The front runner for the organization we thought Francis was going to end up in was the PFL, or the Professional Fighters League. See, before Francis left the UFC, he made an Instagram post with a PFL shirt in it, and apparently talks still remain positive with Francis Ngannou joining the PFL, according to the PFL president. However, we are yet to see anything of real substance. And even if this does work out, he's still probably going to make a small fraction of $8 million and fight people no one really wants to see. And same goes for any other organization. ONE FC, Bare Knuckle, all would be low paying and low pay-per-view numbers given the lower level of competition, especially in the heavyweight division. All in all, the scenario in which Francis Ngannou does get paid is very, very unlikely. And the situation in which Francis does fight seems like he's not going to get paid anywhere near what he could have made in that contract with the UFC. And in general, it's just tough to see one of the most exciting UFC fighters just leave from the top all of a sudden. And it's basically guaranteed that we missed out on the super fight that was Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones, as Dana White has recently taken a strong stance to saying that Francis Ngannou will never fight in the UFC again. Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on the whole Francis Ngannou situation? Will he be able to find a situation in which he will be paid?
The only way Francis comes back is if he goes back to the UFC, but that $8 million deal is gone. You'll be lucky enough to get a $1 million deal, bro. Like, honestly, and will his name pull in tickets? Sure, but the longer it takes, the less eyes are gonna wait for him, bro. Francis really, honestly, like, he career sabotaged himself, because what is he gonna do? The UFC offered you $8 million. You walked away because you want other fighters to get paid and you want sponsorships back so other people get the bag. Humble, but like career-wise, that was not a smart deal. Even if he said no, you could say, okay, let's renegotiate. How about $4 million and you pay the guys $5,000, no sponsorship? Okay, how about $2 million? You give the lower guys $10K, no sponsorship or whatever. Like, you can negotiate, bro. Everything is negotiable, bro. And I do understand the disrespect of here, take 8 mil, shut the fuck up. I'm not changing anything about my company. Like I understand that mentality by Dana White. I understand it. Um, but at the same time, bro, Dana holds everything. The UFC is his. There is like he has John Jones. He doesn't need Francis. He doesn't need him. Francis is just extra money. And who knows, in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe another person will pop up out of nowhere and destroy the whole UFC space like Francis did. Maybe. You never know. Francis popped up out of nowhere. You never know. Somebody could have been inspired by Francis in his hometown to start training crazy like him. Genetics is different. I understand, but you just there's other when you hold all the fucking chips, you can do whatever you want. Dana makes checks. Francis cashes them. There's a difference. He screwed himself over. There's nothing really he can do because his issue was his first contract didn't pay him enough. His second contract could have paid him a whole bunch more, and he walked away from it. If you get a third contract with the UFC, they're not going to pay you anywhere close to 8 mil. Maybe 1 if you're lucky, man. If you're lucky, 1 mil, which is more than what you got in your first contract, which is exactly what Dana's going to say. It's more than what you made in your last contract. It's not as much as we offered you last time, but you walked away from that deal. You just got to kiss ass at that point. And Francis doesn't seem like the type to kiss ass. So if you don't kiss ass, you don't kiss the ring, you don't get nothing. But amazing video, TJ. Fucking love the content, bro. He always getting like 100K views, man. Get this man to 100K subs, bro. Get him his silver play button, bro. Get him the play button. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.